Well, hello friends, I'm David Vos. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm out here in my backyard. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining and all the green leaves are out. Got me some coffee. And I was just watching the news about this guy that just shot somebody and posted it on Facebook, and you hear everybody arguing about it, and oh, he needs to go to hell, we just need to lock everybody up because everybody's crazy. How dare people have these urges? How dare people get sad and sick and then they are crazy and schizophrenic? That's not right. It's like taking a dog and beating it and poking it and smacking it around and starving it. And then when the dog goes rabid, we just get mad at the dog and torture it some more. This is the psyche. This is what I want to talk about today. I mean, if we don't wake up as a human race, well, we won't. That's the sad part. That's what I really want to talk about today, is that we're not going to wake up right away. But some of us can. And the ones who can have to be the teachers. You've got to wake people up. Right now, we've got all these churches running around, and they're the teachers. And they're teaching everybody all this nonsense to, we need more prisons, and we need to get these bad people off the streets, and they're all out there. Imagine, I want you to imagine a scenario. For some of you, it's going to be a very real scenario. You might actually believe. For some of you, you're going to think it's quite extraordinary and you can't believe it. But I'm going to tell you anyway, and I want you to think about it and just imagine it for a moment. Imagine that thousands of years ago or more, there were some people from another planet that came to this world. And they saw the people here without technology and advancement, just living free, in communities, in families, and loving one another and getting along just fine. There wasn't any pollution. It was a beautiful place. So perhaps these highly advanced beings were a lot like we are now, selfish and slightly schizophrenic. Their planet was about ruin because they'd already done what we've done on our planet now to their planet, and it was about to expire, and they needed certain elements and chemicals and minerals and stuff. And so they came to this planet and found all these minerals, right? Gold. Well, there's a lot of work. Just like when you're a farmer and you go find some land and you want all this land, and I'm going to work this land and I'll have food and everything, and it'll be great. Well, what do? Do you do it all yourself? No, you put a bit in your horse's mouth and you hitch up your cows and you plow your fields, and you make all these cows your slaves to get the job done, right? You maybe start breeding cows. You want certain kind of cows, so you got to breed them, right? And why? So you can eat. A human being can make a garden, or when the world was thousands of years ago, when mankind wasn't abusing it, the world was like a paradise. And there's food just growing everywhere. We don't even need to plant. Somebody put it into the minds and hearts of human beings that they needed to plant. Because the thing of it is that they didn't want, when these beings got here, in this scenario, they wanted to keep all of their cattle in one pen. So they had to make them slaves. They had to teach them, you cannot do anything unless you follow the law. You're a slave. All women must be silent and obey their husbands. And you guys, you men, you have to obey the rank, right? The high priest, he's the boss, and whatever he says, you guys got to do it. And there's certain nations, we're going to wipe them out, genocide, because they don't want to obey me, because I'm jealous. And I demand complete, you're my servants, you're my slaves. All of you are my slaves. And I'm going to make a law that says that if you disagree with me, the first one's going to come and stone you is going to be your own mother or your own brother. So they manipulated the genes of these people, just like you would if you were a farmer. You start breeding cows a certain way, right? If you want milk cows, you breed them to milk. If you want work cows, you breed them to work. And so they began to breed humans. So they changed their DNA to where we're just like little rabbits. And it's all we thought about was sex, right? But then they told us, now listen, see, we got to have these humans thinking about sex all the time because they're breeders. But then, on the other hand, we don't want them breeding with the wrong group, because we've got to keep track of all these speckled and striped ones over here, and the long-haired ones over here, and the black ones and the white ones, and all we got. So we got to have control of all of this. So they can only breed the way we say. We'll put a pin around this one, which is law, because it's not quite the same as an animal. You just make a pin, right? Humans will jump right over the fence. So you got to teach them to stay in there. You got to make a law, right? And make them ashamed. So what you do is you say, well, you can breed, but only with the ones we say. There's going to be a caste system. This nation is below this nation's above, and only the Jews can breed, and so forth, and there's a caste system. So the ones that looked more like the aliens that had bred their seed on the earth, they were higher rank. And so they began to make these laws and say, you should feel ashamed of this genetic manipulation we put inside you. And if you have these urges, you're bad. If you don't do it just for breeding, that's all. See, the desire to breed we put in there so that you wouldn't not breed, because we need you to breed. It has to be a huge desire. See, because some of these humans might take off over here, and this way they'll just keep breeding, right? And then we can go out there and round them up whenever we want. Put them in cities and stuff. But we've got to have them breeding. But when they get into our little city states, then we got to make laws, keep them in shame, keep them feeling as though they're worthless, so that, if they ever wake up and realize they're free, that they can, we're going to put a program in them. They're like computers. This little program's going to be all they can think about. But then a long time goes by, and one of these gods, he looks down and he says, man, this isn't right. I'm going to go down there and explain to these humans that they're just slaves. And so he said, hey, you're worshiping the devil. Okay, he's got you, you're just his slave. Okay, you call me master, but you see, a servant doesn't know what his master's doing. But I've called you my friends. I want you to wake up. I want you to be free. I've come to set you free. You need to have love. This eye for an eye thing, all this manipulation, stoning that woman because she wanted to have sex, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm trying to wake you up. But he says, light has come into the world, but you humans can't quite grasp the light. You are being deceived. And even when I tell you the truth, you won't listen. Their God is the devil. He's a deceiver. You're being deceived. He's a liar. He told you lies. He's a slanderer. You're not worthless. Come follow me. And I will give you rest. I've come to give you life, and that more abundantly. Follow after me. My Father in heaven is love. You've never seen my Father. He's not that God that gave you all these laws and, makes you feel all this guilt and shame. You don't have any condemnation. See, because you're in Christ. That's that inner spiritual man that you have within you. This carnal genetic manipulation that they're putting on you is just there for breeding. And they want to make you feel bad. They want to make you feel schizophrenic. And then when you go out and start shooting, people, then they're like, oh, now, see, we got to have eye for an eye. Certainly couldn't have been the fault of our society. Perhaps we should stop this insipid, destructive society that we put people in. Maybe we should take these corrals and tear them down. Maybe we should let these people go free, like Jesus said. But most of you that hear this probably don't. First of all, probably don't. I don't even know if any of this is sort of sounding like reality to you, or if it's just like some kind of crazy novel that is just some fantasy, horror flick. That's the life that we're living. We're living in a horror film. We're living in a hologram that they've created, and you're being bred to serve and obey them and to mine their gold and to develop a technology that will somehow or another make humans obsolete and give them the ability to leave this earth and to lord over another planet, perhaps, or something. We don't know exactly why they're doing this, but we have been their slaves for a long, long time. And people just won't wake up. People just continue to do just like the days of Christ, and say, crucify him, crucify him. And Jesus said, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Friends, you guys just don't know what you're doing. You're living in this world as though this is the only world. You punch a clock every day. You're a slave. We weren't created to live in this environment where we're just breeders, where we're not free, where we go to work every day and do what somebody tells us to do. We're a slave to our homes, to our cars, to the technology. We don't know even ourselves. We don't know deep inside of the recesses of our heart. We don't even know what we want, because we've been taught all along since we were little children that what we want is to be a good little boy or a good little girl and go to work every day and get a degree in one of their colleges, right? And we'll have a little brownie button over here that says, I'm doctor and I'm a lawyer or something. And this is what we feed on. It's like we've got to be just like the Joneses, and over here and the Smiths, they're doing really good. We've got to do just what they're doing. Otherwise, we're no good. We're going to hell. We're bad. So, we don't want to be condemned, and we don't want people to look at us and point the finger and be ashamed and stuff. So we have to act just like everybody else. So everybody's saying they're bad. They're outside of the prism, right? There's a little construct that they've developed. Oh, they're living in a community together in the mountains, building a cabin, and they don't have to go to work every day. They just wake up in the morning with the sun shining on them and raise their children with the butterflies and the flowers and yeah, it can be hard, Hard how? Wake up and you got to build your cabin. Well, it doesn't take you forever to build a cabin. Most of your life is just spent enjoying your animals and eating and enjoying your wife and your children, having a community, your families nearby, riding the horses. This is the way life was supposed to be, a veritable paradise. But they have found this earth to be quite usable, and they have turned our world into a stall or a prison house for us, and they have turned our mind into jelly. In this world, the only thing that's going to stop the elite, the only thing that's going to stop all the bad things in this world, isn't a new church or a new religion or a new government. But it's when human beings finally get the word that we can't live in this little cage and wait for our little cheese. That it's unhealthy, what they're feeding us. There's a big, beautiful world out there. We're free. But as long as we decide that we have to stay in this little cage and do what we're told, we'll never be really humans. We're not going to be happy. You've never been happy because you've never lived as a free human being. And we'll never live as free humans until we can break away and wake up, and do what we're supposed to do. And the only way we can do that is to get together and do it. We can't just talk about it. There's no telling what human beings could do. According to Jehovah, there's nothing that we couldn't do if we were together, if we just could think clearly. But Jehovah gave us laws, condemnation, put us in a little, caste system, told us we're all slaves, beat us when we needed it, and murdered the ones that he didn't like, that wouldn't submit. And now here we are. And until we wake up and come out of this prison, we're not going to make it. So friends, I just thought I'd run that by you. I guess I'll try to enjoy this beautiful day here and stop thinking about such horrific, terrible things. Sometimes I go out here in the yard and take a little drive down to the lake and stuff like that, and I just don't even think about all these terrible things. But then I realize that there's a lot of people out there that are just suffering. And the one thing that could save their life is just to know the truth. Because no matter who you are, if you can just get your mind out of this maze and free your mind, you can do anything you want. Your potential is so amazing. You just have to free yourself from this physical construct that they've made for you. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go. Friends, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is David Vos. We'll see you again tomorrow.